really hard to explain what severe suicidality feels like, what severe depression feels like, but I'm gonna take a crack at it. I want you to imagine that you have lost the ability to feel anything pleasurable, anything. Food will lose its taste. A warm bed will lose its comfort. Conversation will lose its meaning. You won't feel connection to other people. Imagine being in a severe, severe fog, coupled with what I just said, that can only be, let's say, correlated to something like, for someone who's never been there, imagine being like in such a fog that it reminds you of being horribly, horribly hungover. Like you just drank half a gallon last night and you just woke up. Imagine that type of fog and discomfort. What most people don't know about people that are severely depressed or severely anxious is physically, you can feel very sick. It's pretty strange. I never understood it until it happened to me, but you can feel in pain. So I want you to imagine the hangover. I want you to imagine the inability to experience anything in terms of feelings. I want you to imagine flu-like symptoms. Not necessarily that you're throwing up or that you have, cough and all the traditional symptoms, fever, but you feel achy and uncomfortable, completely uncomfortable all the time. On top of that, you can't sleep. And if you do fall asleep, you can't stay asleep. And so you're miserable. You're absolutely miserable.
It's just another bad day. But it's not. You're stuck in this state of mind. You get used to putting on a social mask and you continue to live among other people because that's what you have to do. That's what others do. However, the problem does not go away. You struggle to put on a play every day, and it starts to cost you more and more. That is where you fall even deeper, and that's when you slowly start to back away from friends and family, sometimes completely shutting them out. All satisfaction is gone. The little things that used to bring you joy are now worthless.
Depression in school is the worst possible combination of things just ever in life. Well, not ever, but it's bad. Because the more depressed you get, the further behind you fall in school, and the further behind you fall, the more depressed you get. And it's just like in this vicious cycle of torture.
We feel hated.
Tragic.
I thought people hated me. I thought my dad hated me. I thought the world hated me. I couldn't trust anyone. I was full of hate, absolutely full of hate. Occasionally I'd be full of love because my mum was very kind to me. As I've said, my dad was occasionally incredibly kind to me. So I had so much confusion. I didn't know where I was at. One day I'm in feeling good, another day I'm feeling hate, and I'm in a place of confusion. And I always had this. It wasn't an inner voice. It was a feeling, and the feeling was, you are not good enough. You are a dirty piece of shit who doesn't deserve anything, and you should be ashamed. And it just kept.
I just feel so alone right now, and I don't know if you care or not, but
study in Japan, and they were finding this strange syndrome that a lot of people were having, and it involved like tightness in your muscles, a lot of stress, insomnia, but fatigue. And they were trying to figure out what it was, and they finally realized there was this syndrome that was happening for people where they were in urban settings, they were around big metal buildings, they weren't getting outside, and they were getting sick. And they started to develop acupuncture protocols for how to treat this, and they were treating different points. And finally, somebody just said, let's take these people to the country and see what happens. So they took them out to the countryside, they had them walk around barefoot every day. It wasn't all day, it was only for like an hour, and they all got better.
Wilderness Adventure Therapy is so much more than being the most clinically sophisticated program. It's about passion, it's about love.
It's just really opened up my mind and my heart to what I'm really capable of doing in life.
We want to challenge kids mentally and physically.
To overcome that fear builds within them a sense of confidence that's hard to duplicate in other environments.
The happiness that this place brings you is unexplainable.
After accepting who I was truly happy.
Espiro definitely helped me with realizing that I could have a future.
I just learned that I'm capable of starting over.
Let Espiro take control of your life for a little bit, and you'll be really shocked at where you end up.
I think oftentimes being in an environment that is challenging can build a lot of confidence and also resilience. So for instance, being out there, whether it's the winter or the summer, there's different elements, thunderstorms, snow, just different things that can be really challenging. And to be able to get through a day that was hard where it was maybe snowing and you did a really challenging hike that you thought you never would get through, and you finish the day feeling incredibly empowered and even rejuvenating. So I think wilderness is important in that it provides an experience where you're really outside of your element. You start to discover who you are, who you want to be. You also start to begin to feel healthy, both emotionally and physically. We have staff that are really highly trained, and they are working with you at all times. Whether it's in moments where you're feeling really resistant or defiant or sad or depressed, they really have the skills to help you work through any of that. So I think wilderness therapy works on a variety of levels to get you to a place where you can leave feeling like you know more of who you are, you have a sense of self, ego strength, you've maybe worked through some of your anxiety, depression, talked about substance abuse or dependence if that's been an issue for you. Just really a safe, emotionally safe environment to talk about whatever might be going on.
So a typical day in the life of a wilderness kid.
We get up, we pack up all our stuff, we either have breakfast or we just quickly make something and put it in a baggie.
And you have normally about 35 minutes to an hour to eat breakfast, depending on if it's hot or cold breakfast.
Each of the students is given this huge food pack, which is about 15 to 20 pounds, depending on the time of the year. And they have all these ingredients. So they've got flour, and they've got masa, and they've got cornmeal, and they've got oats. They've got all of these ingredients where they can come through and make this stuff from scratch. So it's really almost like being in like grandma's outdoor kitchen.
On Mondays and Tuesdays are clinical days. So that's the days that we therapists are out there in the field. Wednesday through Sunday, they're leave no trace backpacking. So they're packing everything up, hiking to a new location and setting up camp.
Really, I clearly was not happy with my life or myself, and that just manifested itself in so many different ways. My mom noticed that, and so she sent me to Wingate.
Very good. And what have you learned about Jessie?
I learned that she's amazing. I really like her. I mean, I have to be around her for a pretty long time, so I guess I should get used to it. But I learned that I am very caring. I learned that I am very controlling. I learned that I am an addict and that I have an addictive personality. I learned that for a long time, I did not love myself, and I learned how to love myself, and I really I was given the tools to be happy and peaceful.
Style. Like you can eat the best diet, with the highest protein and grass-fed beef, but if you're spending most of your time inside, in front of computer screens, underneath fluorescent lights, and you're wearing, really uncomfortable clothing and you're just sitting for 8 hours a day, and then you get in a car and you drive home and you don't breathe fresh air the whole time, I don't think you're gonna be that healthy, no matter what supplements you take. We kind of joke that the first supplement you should take every day is nature, or outside biochemistry, and there's stunning stuff coming out that, for those of us who get to work outside a lot, it's not a surprise, but how it helps people be more healthy, more happy, more calm. And I think a lot of times challenges with the immune system,
Dr. Jane Erb is director of the Depression Center at Boston's Brigham and Women's Hospital. She says researchers are learning more about the power of exercise in treating depression, a therapy that, in some cases, can even take the place of antidepressant drugs.
It's really just been over the last couple decades that there's been more focused, sort of clinically validated trials that have established that there truly are appreciable effects that go well beyond placebo.
So how exactly does exercise improve symptoms of depression? It's well known that exercise causes the release of chemicals in the brain which bring about feelings of euphoria, the so-called runner's high.
It is amazing how much better people feel when they take time to exercise. When someone exercises, endorphins are released in their bodies. This greatly improves their mood and most definitely can counter many of the symptoms of depression. This shouldn't be surprising. The endorphins released during exercise reduce your perception of pain. They affect the same receptors in the brain that are used by many medications. So the endorphins created by running and other exercises can become safe and effective ways of treating yourself with a natural medication.
Decade or so, researchers in Japan have started to examine the physiological effects that take place in people's bodies when they walk through forests, when they do Shinrin-yoku. And what they're finding is really, really interesting. So first of all, they found that when people are in a forest, there's a significant decrease in their stress hormones, like cortisol. There's a decrease in the activity of their sympathetic nervous systems, the branch responsible for fight or flight, for stress. There's a decrease in their blood pressure. There's a decrease in their pulse rate. There's an increase in their parasympathetic nervous system activity, the branch responsible for relaxation and feelings of well-being. Spending time in the forest has the potential to reduce depression. It has the potential to reduce anger, to reduce fatigue and confusion, and actually to increase a person's sense of vigor, a person's sense of enthusiasm for life. And other studies also suggest that people who live near a green area with trees are less prone to anxiety than those living in cities. When we're in nature, we enter into this alpha brainwave activity pattern, and that is why we get new insights. That is why we have more mental clarity and better ideas and more access to our intuition when we're in nature. So, as we can see, when it comes to well-being and personal growth, spending time in nature is an absolute powerhouse. And other benefits, according to the scientific research, include improved quality of sleep and actually increased lifespan. But not only increased lifespan, also increased healthy longevity. So we're alive longer, but we're also healthier for longer when we spend time in nature regularly.
Bye.